We're here at Super Bowl 54 on Radio Row and Media Day, and I got a guy here who's played in a couple Super Bowls. He's also a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest offensive linemen of all time, Anthony Munoz. Welcome to Sports Spectrum.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So good to talk to you. So good to see you. We know your faith's important to you. Let's start with that. And give us a foundation of that faith, kind of where it began for you and kind of how it's taken shape. Obviously, we don't have all day because it could take all day, but just where that kind of came from.
Yeah, no problem. It is. The faith is everything. It's been going on 42 years this October. Started at USC. I was a freshman at USC when really I had my first exposure, first conversation about the gospel, and I was a little hesitant to sit down and talk to the staff member there, but then the more I was around it, teammates started to share, and then sophomore year, I got married to my wife, Dee Dee, and that in April of '78 and October of '78, realized as a big, rough and tough football player, 6'6", 300-pounder, could make it through life alone, that we both came to Jesus in October of 1978, which will be 42 years. So, it's pretty cool because at USC we had several. We had a great staff there with Campus Crusade. Yep. We had quite a few guys. I think we had about 5 or 6 guys that were married at that time. So we had a nice Bible study, not only with couples but players. So it started there at USC my sophomore year. And then fast forward 2.5 years when people were saying I wasn't going to have a chance to play in the NFL. God's plan was to have me drafted after playing only one game my senior year, and we got connected with Athletes in Action as a young married couple and young believers, and so that was 40 years ago. So it's been pretty exciting, the journey that God has taken us on, and it's not over yet.
What do you think the state of faith is in the NFL today? I mean, you played, like we say, over the past 40 years. It was different. You retired, I think, in 91 or 92, so you're done with the NFL at that point. So that's 27 years. You've always been outspoken about your faith. You're still around the game. What do you think the state of faith is today in the NFL?
I think it's in a pretty good state. I think at least in my experience hearing guys talk, the exposure, I still believe that God gives a lot of those guys some boldness to share. And at least I'm not in the locker room all the time, but I get a chance to meet quite a few of the guys that are outspoken, and I think it's pretty strong. I think it really is. With all as big as the league has gotten, I mean, it's become such a big show now. Yeah. But I still believe that the faith component with the players is still very, very, very important.
The Super Bowl breakfast is taking place Saturday. I love this event. We've been into it the last few years. Athletes in Action is sort of the presenting group that puts it on, and it's a really neat event that's sponsored or is part of the NFL's event, sanctioned. Right. And I'm always blown away because you go to this, and this year Eli Manning is going to win the Bart Starr Award, and he's going to be glorified and presented there. But really, God gets the glory when you go to this thing, and there's a presentation of the gospel. Tell us about the Super Bowl breakfast, why it's so important to you.
Well, I think it's the opportunity to use the platform of football, and I think that's what we learn when we come into the league and you're a Christian and you get a chance to have, the media part of it, as we just talked about the state of believers in the league and the media. So you understand that it's not about yourself, it's about utilizing the platform and sharing what's important in your life, and that's faith in Christ. So the Super Bowl, you get people there that are going to see, Tony Dungy, Derek Brooks, James Brown, and then you have Eli Manning receiving the Bart Starr Award. I mean, you talk about Bart Starr. I mean, first couple was legend with, Vince Lombardi, the guy that modeled character to his family, teammates, a community, and now you got an award that carries his name. And the fact that, I had a chance to get it in 1990, it's like, just blows me away. So that's the fun thing about it. You're going to see football highlights. You have families there. You have business people there that are into the game, so they're seeing all these highlights. But then you get to hear what's really important, and that's life. I mean, faith and how you live your life off the football field, which really, I believe, makes you a better football player when you have that faith component. At least through my experience, that allowed me to be more intense, to prepare, to really focus a lot more. And that's why I love the Athletes in Action Super Bowl breakfast so much. Is sure, you get a chance to have a guy like Eli Manning, or in the past, Derek Brooks, Drew Brees, receive this award. But you get to have a nice breakfast, but then all the other, you get to see Tony Dungy, James Brown, share their whole life with you. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah,
SuperBowlBreakfast.com, I believe, is the website, and they do such great stuff. Last one from me. Tell me about a Bible verse or something, story in the Bible, one that's encouraged you. You said it's been 40-plus years. Just one that kind of you gravitate back towards that's in the Word.
Well, there's a lot of them, but to me, Colossians 3:23 is a short verse. It says, whatever you do, do it with all your heart. as for working for the Lord, not man. It doesn't say some things. It doesn't say some things wholeheartedly, some things half. It's everything. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're on the football field, husband, father, community member, and that to me has spoken to me for 42 years.
He is Anthony Munoz, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Thanks for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You have a great week.
You too.